Long-term consequences. The cooling event of 536 CE set off a cascade of effects that would last for decades. The drop in temperature and agricultural productivity weakened empires, including the Byzantine Empire, and contributed to the overall decline of certain civilizations. Medieval warm period delayed. The climate shift led to a prolonged Little Ice Age, which affected Europe and parts of Asia for several decades, preventing the warming of the Earth that would later define the medieval warm period, around the 9th century. This shift caused additional hardship, especially for agrarian societies. Devastating impact. The plague hit urban centers particularly hard, including Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire. It's estimated that up to 40% of the population of Constantinople perished, causing significant demographic shifts, economic collapse, and social turmoil. Famine and social unrest. The combination of crop failures from the cooling climate, poor harvests, and the spread of the plague led to widespread famine. This was especially tragic because people were already struggling from the harsh weather and food shortages. Social and political instability increased, and many regions faced economic collapse. Malnutrition and starvation. People became weakened from hunger, making them more susceptible to disease. The lack of food and the outbreak of the plague created a vicious cycle of suffering that lasted for several years. This caused cold and wet conditions in areas that had previously been warm and temperate. The Plague of Justinian, in addition to the climate catastrophe, 536 CE also coincided with the outbreak of the Plague of Justinian, a devastating bubonic plague pandemic. This plague, which would last for centuries in waves, was named after the Byzantine Emperor Justinian I, who ruled during its initial outbreak. First major pandemic. The Plague of Justinian is believed to have started in 541 CE, just a few years after the atmospheric event. It spread rapidly across the Eastern Roman, Byzantine, Empire and beyond, eventually killing an estimated 25 to 50 million people over several centuries. It is thought to have started in Central Asia, spreading along trade routes, including the Silk Road, and carried by fleas on rats that infested ships traveling across the Mediterranean. Mysterious climate event. Around 536 CE, a mysterious, massive fog or dust cloud appeared, causing a dramatic cooling of the Earth's climate. This event, believed to have been caused by a large volcanic eruption, caused a global temperature drop of about 1 to 2 degrees Celsius, 1.8 to 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit. The cooling lasted for several years, but it was most severe in 536 CE. Global darkness. The eruption, or possibly multiple eruptions, released vast amounts of ash and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, which formed a veil of haze over large parts of Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. This caused the sun to appear dimmed, creating what was known as the year without a summer. The dimming of sunlight led to widespread crop failures and a collapse of agricultural systems, leading to food shortages and famine. Historical accounts. Contemporary writers, such as the Byzantine historian Procopius, mentioned how the sun was so obscured by the haze that it emitted a pale, eerie glow and couldn't provide much heat.